any, like, just outnumber him when he tries to outnumber you. It's an interesting idea. And then have some, like, independent laners, that global ability. Hard to tell as we switch. But we saw the early obs off the teleport from Celery as it's just going to force a fight on their vision, but they kind of left the hill and then they're going to give up first blood instead.
Yeah, it is going to be traded out with Tim.
One of the reasons Blacklist took it in that second phase. Like, they did not want to give it.
Like you said, they're trying to pull the lane back, but that also leaves an opening here for Raven to potentially get caught. Instead, it's going to...
Yeah, it's like that classic combination.
Celery maybe in a spot of trouble here.
Oh, the bash.
And to get one bash. Where's the fear shot? Finally it goes out, but Gabby's already left.
Yo, Gabby.
He was like, I thought you weren't going to use it. I was waiting for so long.
You're not playing.
And Carlo was making the rotation too. They're actually going to TP the Furion out, which does leave Duraccio alone here.
Oh, he saves the bash. He knew.
Easy kill to get. Very nice.
Gabby knew, dude. He didn't want to waste that bash on the support.
Did he get 2 bashes and 2 hits? 3 hits, maybe?
Yeah, we'll give him a little 60s.
He actually got out-rotated by Train Protector.
Yeah.
So
Blacklist did a decent job defending those early moves, and that has pushed Furion down on the XP board.
Carlo making a run for it. He's trying to pull the creeps off the tower, but he's going to be caught before he gets back to the jungle, back to the forest from whence he came. He'll die, instead head back to the fountain. Abed has made a rotation, though. He wants to hold this tower.
Oh, he got zapped!
Oh, no! That is unfortunate.
Breaking with full Skelly boys. His tower's just going down. So the onus is on Blacklist right now to make the exchange happen. And Gaimin gonna respond.
TP rotation coming in from Quinn will at least
have Pierce the Veil. You don't have the tree and ulti here. Those are some of your big damage healers in the team fight. And I mean, Quinn just running you down right now because there's no control for this Rolling Thunder until you have Overgrowth.
Yep. Okay, this swashbuckle puts himself in range of Abed. Now he has the Rolling Thunder, but may not be expecting this rotation from everyone else on Tinker.
Oh, over Tinker. Why do people hate Tinker? I don't get this obsession, man. Chilling.
I understand. You're a pro gamer.
Overgrowth's gonna try and bail this out.
That is not gonna be enough, but Abed can get some return kills. They're gonna get a 2 for 1 so far, but Abed can keep chasing down more of these heroes. He's gonna go for Quinn, but Gabby was going for a different target, and now they're missing the disable and the damage to perhaps get both of them. Okay, bumps him into the fear shot. Celery. Yeah, they're trying to push him straight into those, through the little doors for the kobolds.
Get in there, mine me some gems.
Well, he'll be farming him for sure. Abed takes away the Wraith King reincarnation. Does need some help if he wants to get a second life.
Just what your lineup drives at. You have the Midas Breaker, you have the Spectre, you can get the pickoffs.
And that information.
Now this map is not proving to be too fun for Gaimin to play right now, and the burst is so close.
Very nice. React to this turn. Celery might end up dying here as he's a little close to Abed, who is going to collect some of these neutral items, see if he gets away from this. Nice. Abed making a really good read there. Doesn't actually get away from the stun in time, sadly, but waiting.
I feel like you should play for the pick off the Manta helps you farm, it helps you push out the map, which also helps you pick off.
Got him.
Yeah, he's going to get there in time, but
stuns aren't going to last too long. Well, looks like his W just ran out. First damage is enough before the charge can...
Yeah.
you can't say that with a straight face.
Cool, though.
Quinn, Blacklist need to take a little bit more of a trek to get here, so this is going to be delayed. I like that. Spectre waiting for somebody else to show before finally jumping. They do manage to get, again, the counter to the Rolling Thunder. He does have the Illusion Rune, though, so he's going to be okay. Or, excuse me. Looks like they want to make the move to bottom lane on Blacklist already.
The Atos.
Ah, the Atos. There it is. He's stuck in the ghost. That was a ton of burst damage. Damn. He's going to die twice.
He's gone. Whirling. Yeah, way too strong.
Duraccio, he managed to get the break onto the Spectre. No Eclipse bounces onto him, though. A little bit unfortunate. He gets bashed up a second time. That is just unfortunate. He just did not get the damage on the hero that he wanted to go on there. Also outnumbered by a large amount is Blacklist. Had already killed one and had all 5 of their heroes, and now they're going to be rewarded with a fan. You better run, or your team better go through the portal to join you. Oh.
That was...
Who's going through who?
Gabby? Okay, Gabby's gonna go for it with his BKB. They're gonna jump onto the Furion. Immediately, Tim's gonna put him down. Meanwhile, the Eclipse on the high ground.
That overgrowth destroyed them there.
Yeah, it did. It controlled all of those heroes. They couldn't get any sort of rebuttal there. Now the control is wearing out.
BKB on Tarachio. The big factor here is he wants to force the fight.
Or jumping onto the Spectre. It is an easier kill than I think Blacklist anticipated.
To say completely handle.
I feel like that is
Lena's
only
yesterday.
nothing to say. I feel like that is just a nothing to say thing.
I mean, have you ever seen a Magnus solo mid kill Alina?
No.
Solo kill Alina. He did that twice yesterday.
Yeah.
He's just too good. Because that is not supposed to happen, my friend.
No.
He did it twice. All right.
Yeah,
Not
but
bad.
I mean, this hero is just very appealing, simply because the stats are so good, the laning is good, the damage is incredibly high, secures your team fighting, gives you a lot of potential for plays throughout the game with this hero. And also, we have to talk about the Magnus high ground defense. Yesterday, when Blacklist were playing this Magnus mid, the only reason they held into that game for so long was the skewers back into their high ground.
And like another added benefit that like Magnus has is just a lot of heroes don't like playing against this hero. Like you don't ever want to play against like hard lockdown or heroes who can put you out of position. Like there's a few heroes I would put in this category. A lot of heroes don't enjoy playing against Nyx Assassin or Ancient Apparition, Ulti. A similar story with like Magnus. It's just a feel-good hero for you, and it's like a feels bad man hero if you have to play against it.
I wonder though, you see this Nature's Prophet in the first phase, it has to be addressed one way or another, right? The way to address it is by these global presence heroes. Typically, it's been the Spirit Breaker or the Spectre. And I feel like if they let this Nature's Prophet go unpunished in this first phase, it would be a little bit strange. So I do like the idea of a Spectre paired up with a Magnus potentially. Just have to have a core who exploits them.
There's a lot of supports that they like already that I feel like oftentimes it helps them hold their lanes, which would be like the Phoenix and Weaver. But Gaimin, obviously, they're going to do their homework. They know that with the Nature's Prophet, they want gankable lanes, play fast, don't allow them to be too defensive against it. So they're going to take that out. So, because, yeah, I fully agree with Mira. They need to... This is a hero you can't just give away and don't have a plan against it. Like, you got to have some plan, be ready for the moves, and then chill.
But with that in mind, are we surprised that Gaimin doesn't ban, for example, the most common counter in the Spirit Breaker at all?
Maybe they've got a plan.
Maybe they've got a plan as well.
Perhaps.
Double plans.
It's a double whammy plan.
Yes. Mind games upon mind games. That sometimes is what a draft is. And you know what is funny and also to me somewhat disappointing, that we can analyze, we analyze things. I mean, oftentimes maybe overanalyze things, and then sometimes you hear just players say, yeah, we just picked it because we thought it was nice. No other reason. It's like, felt good. Like, okay.
And I can see why they're confident in their Nature's Prophet, even versus counters, because they won versus Blacklist yesterday, and they were playing as a Spirit Breaker and a Spectre, I believe. Two heroes who make this hero's life a living hell. And basically the way Celery played it was that he tried to have as much impact as possible during the laning stage, and then he just built items to buff up his team. He didn't really try to go for these split push plays or these wave cutting plays on the Prophet. Kind of just like stood back and played a more supporty role.
Well, the answer with the Treant, I think we touched on it yesterday, but for the people that were not around, you lane well against it, you keep people high HP, you can always also find him later in the game with your shard, you can set up on him, and you can help out with the living armor all over the map. As Gaimin, I'm not surprised that this hero is highly contested in this series. Both teams love it. So might have to bump it up a little earlier in the pick phase, as Gaimin snatched themselves Lone Druid. Fits really well with Nature's Prophet, high early game pressure, good laning, just solid.
Yep, and one of the supports who really doesn't care about Sprout the way that others do.
Well, finally we get a Rubik. He has been in some other games, but I personally have not seen him yet in our games. I think we touched on it yesterday as well when there was a Magnus. Just nice to have a combo break against this hero. Good spells to steal, of course. If you ever get some Empower for the bear, it's pretty nasty nowadays too. And just overall nice. Can play on high range, follow damage.
Yeah, typically Rubik has always been the traditional counter to Magnus, but it feels a little bit different now, because back in the day, Magnus was picked solely for RP, and then Rubik's would just stick back and try to steal that RP, do it themselves. You also have the instant stun and telekinesis, which allows you to stop Magnus from skewering back a target after he goes in. But nowadays, I feel like with the new Harpoon build on Magnus, Rubik can be easily shredded if he's spotted by this Magnus. In the past, Magnuses would play on their spells, but now I feel like with this right-click Magnus, if you see this Rubik, you just Harpoon him, you get right on top of him and you don't allow him to disrupt your abilities.
Yeah, it's like one of the added benefits why Magnus is just so good. I think with him being universal and like new items, right, coming into the meta with like Harpoon and that stuff just gives you more ways and different options of how to play. I think the Lifestealer pick is very good. Lifestealer Magnus, very strong together. You lane well with Treant, but most importantly, against Lone Druid, you need heroes that are able to stand their ground, threaten the bear.
Yeah.
Lifestealer, one of the best heroes to do just that.
And Lo has been playing it exceptionally well. Also, it feels like every game that Lo gets this Lifestealer, Azure just changes their playstyle where they're collapsing on the enemy safe lane with their carry really early on, and they're forcing these 3-man engagements, 4-man engagements in a way that doesn't allow the other carry to farm, right? He's not the sit back and I'm gonna chill and wait till I get a Radiance before I join my team. No, he's going through these twin gates early and bringing the pressure early.
I wonder, like, if you're Gaimin, you can lane lone against Lifestealer. I don't think it's particularly amazing. I have seen, like, new builds, you leave the bear level 1, so it's not high HP to give you better trading. But there's an option where you could put Lone Druid in the safe lane, let the Rachu play it, look for some new counter pick, something else with, like, Aura, some range hero, Visage, or whatever. But I think either way now, they need to decide already. Okay, if I lane against them with this, we do that. Or they just decide for something different. I think Morph is a pretty damn good pick here as well.
I will say Muerta has been one of the most picked heroes of the event so far, fourth most picked, but it's not working out for a lot of teams. Only like 5 wins out of 14 or something like that, which is
10 seconds remaining.
pretty bad, right?
Yeah, it doesn't sound great. I still think the hero's great. You know, I would give it maybe a few more days to really see if it's good or bad. But, you know, if teams feel good about it, I think, you know, it gives you damage, slow, good laning. I'm okay with it.
I think she's gotten a little bit figured out since TI, and also a little bit tweaked since TI, where she's not as strong, but she still provides you in the draft a lot of things. She provides you all strong laning support. She gives you scaling, which you do need on your supports in this patch. You can't pick supports who don't have a means to dish out damage in the late game, which is why Willow and Muerta have become so popular recently. And the flex potential is always going to be nice, even though this Muerta is a position 4. So a lot of teams are still sticking to their guns when it comes to her, simply because of how many boxes she ticks off.
I'm a bit maybe not surprised about the Doom pick, but I kind of forgot. So Quinn has been actually pubbing a lot of Lone Druid. I don't think it's one of his favorite heroes, but you know, they're just covering their bases to make sure that, okay, they can flex this, they can flex that. So we'll take that out. But I think for Gaimin, I'm not having the easiest time to figure out their last pick, because of course they will have to pick first. They don't fully know yet as well what is coming up mid, as no Azure Ray, they can also still flex.
It could be something else,
That's why they have to be a little bit careful. But to go a little bit into the Morph, I like it a lot against Snakes. Of course, you can get the you can get the Rage, and later on as well. Like, you just lane well as well against Mag. I think it kind of goes both ways, but you're a type of hero that's very hard to be kicked out. And you want to be able to play a wide, like a very big map against Treant. You want to hold your own towers, try to take theirs, and Morph, he kind of does both.
And there really aren't, like, the only fear that Morphling has right now is the silence from Muerta early on, but there aren't really any strong disables. What were you saying, Sheeps?
No, that the Shaker got banned out, and I don't feel like it teaches us anything either about where Azure wants to go with their draft.
Yeah, not really, to be honest. I mean, of course, they're going to have the last pick, so they kind of get the choice.
Yeah.
I think for Gaimin, I could see one hero just because it fits well with their tempo. I think it could be Queen of Pain. Wouldn't say it's a free game, but having a potential to go early Orchid and just, like when I see Morph and Lone on the side lanes, I would like a mid hero that can go there and open up the map.
Yeah, and something like a Queen of Pain takes advantage of the lack of disables coming out of Azure, right? I mean, they're really dependent on their ultis to be able to lock down any target, right? It's either going to be the RP or the Overgrowth, otherwise...
Maybe Puck, as they ban DK. I mean, it could be for either of the two, but
Puck
that's another hero that kind of comes to mind.
5 seconds remaining.
What's it gonna be? I don't see anything else other than those two that like really impresses me, at least.
I do feel like Puck makes the most sense, especially with the context of the DK ban and the context of the lack of disables on Azure, but very nice call on the Queen of Pain.
Yeah, I think it kind of makes... I don't know who got this. It may have even been them, I think, who got the one win on the co-op in this tournament. But I just think it's... They had this one loss against Secret where Ace was dominating on Visage, but no one could go to him. They had this mid Lina. I think they just kind of learned from that, okay, you know, help each other. You'll pay back to me later. Let's help each other to win. And not just, okay, I want to play Lina. I'll do my own thing. Help each other.
So you think it's an Orchid Rush co-op and not the Kaya Sanj tanky build?
It might just be a bit more dependent on the game, I think. Like, Lysier is a type of hero. If he has a free game, you need to pivot a little bit to maybe, you know, skip in an Orchid and slow him down a bit. But if their lanes go good, I think then he can build whatever he wants. So what's the counter pick?
What counter picks Queen of Pain at all? I mean, only two come to mind is Still the Puck and maybe Templar Assassin or something. Or the Viper. That's unusual.
Yeah, that's a dirty one. But this is what I mean with this team. They pick a lot of heroes already by nature that slow down enemy heroes throughout the lane and in the game. I don't know if I love it, because I think Viper is a hero that can easily get roamed on, especially by you're playing against Nature's Prophet, but when it comes to laning and shutting them down, you definitely do that.
I think this Viper is a very interesting pick conceptually because sure, you can itemize on Atos and you're going to have a great lane, but this is a very slow hero. So as we were saying, they just want to outlane Gaimin Gladiators. They want to stomp these lanes really hard and win off of their net worth lead. And it's going to depend on how the Azure supports are going to play around this Viper on the mid lane, because as you mentioned, Kaiser, there is a Nature's Prophet. He's going to be TPing in behind you, sprouting you. You're going to be able to bring in the Rubik. But if Azure supports are ready for those rotations, they're ready to back up this Viper, I actually think this Viper could end up working.
Yeah, if Viper has a good early game, this hero is very scary, especially against those heroes. He has to be a bit careful against Rubik, you don't give away the break too much. But I hope they're ready for the early game in aggression, because it's definitely coming in this game.
I feel like we've seen both teams deal pretty well yesterday anyway with the early game aggression. So I can't wait to see what happens when they go up against each other with drafts like these. And we don't have to wait anymore to see what will happen, because we're heading over to Cap and SPG for the cast.
That's right. We have a battle for first on our hands here, Avery. First in the groups, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that counts for something. You get to get a lower seed. The trash of the other group.
Yeah, you guarantee into the upper bracket. I don't know if there's any sort of way that one of these teams could lose to and then maybe end up some other team taking over that second place slot. I don't know. But either way, these teams aren't thinking about failure. They're thinking about winning, because both teams are full of winners, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
second place winners.
9 winners and a Viper player. One way to think about it.
Yeah, XM. Maybe it was a dirty pick.
Pretty dirty.
Dirty pick.
I have not seen Viper be as dirty as he used to.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to say, I don't think any hero in Dota is trash, but some are Viper.
There was a game earlier in this tournament where somebody had to start jungling at level 2 or 3 because of, I'm pretty sure that happened.
I mean, that's why you pick the hero. Yeah. You're not picking him for anything else. You're picking him to delete the enemy mid from the game. And then hopefully that's enough to propel you to victory. Because I still think this hero has a lot of weaknesses. I mean, he's had his heyday where, you know, his AoE goo cleared through jungle faster than any other hero in the game on the end of their toxin. But outside of that patch, the hero generally just suffers on the big map with a lot of mobility heroes and the fights getting spread around and people just farming. It's not his strength, right? He likes these tight, close games where you dominate the lane and the game just kind of ends as a result.
Yeah.
And that is the goal here. This is a matchup where Viper historically has been able to do it versus the Queen of Pain. It's a matchup Queen really suffers in because your trade mechanism just doesn't really out efficiency his. The downside is Gaimin have some good answers to Viper in the team fights and in the game. You have the Rubik to turn the break around. You have Morphling to turn it around. In fact, Morphling and Rubik are two of the only heroes in Dota that use Viper spells against them, and they used to be classic counterpicks to the hero. So you kind of picked it into your own counters, a stats perspective, which is maybe unfortunate, right? Because otherwise I think the pick would look a lot better here. But I am worried for the Viper in the mid-game fights where you just get broken, you get turned around on, and you lose your magic resist. You just get shredded. I don't even think the Furion and Lone Druid matchups are that good for him either. Sprout's pretty annoying. The Bear can be annoying if it just gets on top of you instantly before you put stacks on it. So this pick goes both ways. Basically, we need to see some lane dominance out of XM. He needs to step up, decimate Quinn in the first levels, get a huge advantage, and then if Azure can play around the Viper's advantage, keep the Queen of Pain down, and their two side laners can stand their ground against Lone Druid and the Morph, this draft can come together really nicely, and just going to dominate the mid. The advantage is going to be way too much for to fight into.
Morphling is the #2 counter of Viper, according to Dota buff matchups, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, offensively, you're not going to feel that good as Viper against that matchup, and you've already pointed out the spell steal aspect. I was looking for Rubik as well. Rubik was fairly middling.
Yeah, the Rubik one's not as... I mean, it's nice for the Rubik, but the way Rubik generally functions is anything that's nice for Rubik makes his game better, but it doesn't necessarily make the...
Sure.
I mean, Rubik's always going to have spells to steal. It's these core matchups that he really suffers. So the patches when Viper was the dominant offlaner, when ATF was playing it a lot, etc. There's a couple basically you're either picking an illusion carry. There's Naga, Phantom Lance, or Terrorblade that can all really hurt the Viper in the mid game as long as you get out of the lane. I think Naga's the strong. In fact, I still think Naga's number one. Stats in terms of the lane's okay, and then you just
For the pub stats, it's Phantom
kinda-
Lancer, but
all right. Well, he's up there. I guess CK is also an illusion carry.
Yep.
But outside of
also
those,
there.
I think the go-tos were Morphling and Drow Ranger when Drow was viable. And Drow was like
Right.
a more volatile matchup because sometimes Viper, like Viper Tusk just kills your Drow. And you have... But if
Sure.
you get out of that, Drow just outranges you really happy. And on the mid lane, I mean, what was the mid lane counter? Wind Ranger. That was like what people were trying, right? Wind Ranger, or you try and outrange him with like Lena Sniper type work.
There was some Medusas. Looks like Invoker did all right.
Yeah, there was a Quas Invoker matchup that was like okay, but it wasn't a great patch for Invoker. It's an interesting hero. He has this like really weird matchups. It's a harder hero to execute than it seems on paper, because people just think of Viper as you right click and then that's all you really do. You know, the hero's simple to play, but he's actually kind of hard to win with times in competitive.
Well, we'll see whether or not it can find success here because, again, it was picked earlier in this tournament. I'm pretty sure Mar actually played it in the off lane. So, here in the mid, I mean, it's been a while since... You guys ready for the mid 1v1 later today, says Celery. Is that in the rulebook? I know we had a talk about the rulebook earlier today. We had best of ones.
There are 1v1 mid.
Okay.
Potential tiebreaker. You know, Azure have a lot of faith in XMs. Low was greater than Somnus. So I guess Low's going mid. Or your carry. Maybe Jinq will play it.
It's like Liquid, mainly Boxy's really good at 1v1.
They are very different. But I mean,
Dota would be more. Were you going to remember we were talking about having larger rosters for Dota so you could have specialist players? Imagine if we changed Dota so 1v1 mids was more of a thing. Maybe like the shootout in soccer, aka football, and you had like a specialist 1v1. You know?
yeah, you know the problem with that?
What's the problem with that?
I'll give you 3 letters. EGO, my friend. Every mid player has massive ego, so they're never going to let someone else go mid in a 1v1. You think Quinn's going to let Tofu go mid in a 1v1?
Well, Quinn
oh, yeah, you got it,
is
man.
a mid specialist.
Exactly, but every mid thinks they're the best laner in the world regardless of the rule set.
I feel like there's definitely got to be some mids out there that do not think that they're the best laner in the world.
Yeah, that's possible.
Maybe excel at other aspects.
They don't care. They're still going to... I'm in, and Ice shows up and throws coal at your face and kills you. And hey, this is not...
Yeah, I wonder how S4 would do in the 1v... We had a modern 1v1 mid tournament. How good some of the past champs,
Oh,
right?
they would...
S4 was...
They would get handled.
Would get handled?
Yeah. Laning is a skill that is dynamic. Laning's not a static skill. It's not like once you get good at laning, you're...
Sure.
It's constantly updating. It's constantly adapting. There's new items added to the game, new items, consumables.
Sometimes
branch
Valve
meta
just
stats.
puts an extra creep to go to the mid
Yeah,
lane.
exactly. All these things change, and people are constantly getting better. So I have no doubt that almost any top tier player of nowadays would wipe the floor with any player from like 10 years ago, as it should be. Not that those guys are bad, but very different game. The
Skill
set's
is relative,
constantly
and as the game has become more popular and more money, people practice more and more mistakes of the past. And nowadays, when you go back and watch replays just 5 years ago, it looks like a very different game skill-wise.
It is.
You still going to say that 5 years from now, though?
I do think it. I mean, it's probably like logarithm. The biggest gains in Dota were probably made in the first 5 years in terms of lead up, right? Like there was a lot to still develop, a lot of room for growth. But then your gains becomes. Nowadays, you're eking out, 1% gain, 5%.
The man's
Try
missing
and
a
get an
key.
edge.
What happened to the key?
He doesn't like those.
All right, well, hopefully we'll be able to get these pieces back up online. Get our first game of the day rolling. How have you been feeling about the group so far? Who's been standing out for you? Because we've only cast the morning games, so we haven't actually cast the later games.
Chinese Dota for sure. Right?
Chinese Dota across the board?
Yeah. Like,
okay.
I mean, people hating on LGD, but it's not like everybody has a great first tournament after the roster, and I think Jiao will eventually get somewhere in the course of a year, right? But I think the other two, between Azure and UIG, they've really solid in terms of the synergy, the drafting, bringing some creative stuff to the table. I think Chinese Dota's looked a lot better right now with the recent shuffle than they have in a long time.
Yeah.
And I think people were kind of like losing faith in them be able to compete. But I was thinking about like this land, who is the favorite to win it all at the exact point in time? It would probably be Gaimin on paper just from like here.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at the gameplay, I feel like there's a lot of teams that can compete with them, give them a run for their money, and show up and do pretty well right now, right? It doesn't feel as Western Europe dominated this event as
Thank
some of
God.
the previous ones.
Yeah. It's never good when one region is dominating.
And so I think that bodes well for the rest of the year. Now, it could end up in the same place, right? I'm not putting like a huge amount of stock in that. Oh, Western Europe's dead and all these regions are going to dominate them, whatever. But it seems a lot more balanced to me. Like, I feel like a lot of these teams do well with each other. You have the MENA region coming up with Falcons, Quest that I think are going to be like
Which helps with
strong
the Western
competitors.
European dominance by basically splitting that region in half.
But you're still spreading it out. You have different qualifiers, different metas. You come to the land, different teams are ahead or have to catch up, right? You're spreading out the experience of the veteran players. Like, that makes a difference in the course of time. You had some SA players that branched out as well, right? Like Whisper going to, you know, you're going to spread some experience and knowledge. You're going to go back into these regions. It helps over the long term. So I think China coming back is very good for the Dota. Them making a resurgence here is going to help boost their region's confidence. And I think it's a result of them bringing back some of these players like Q, Ame's coming back, you know, and maybe some of that started with like that run from Azure at TI. Somnus, FY coming back, big names, historical names in the China, proving that they're still skilled enough to do it. It's just the team structures for them in the setup just has been off for like the last year. Yeah. And there's reasons for that, but hopefully it comes together a bit and there's a bit more stability. Because these are rosters that need time to gel and like get that synergy.
And even just within individual tournaments, like for most of Dota's history, I would say the Chinese teams have been slower starters. And I think we saw that for day one of this tournament. I think G2IG didn't start off particularly well. I was watching, they lost Tundra, and I was watching that series, and they didn't look great there. But they've gone on to then beat Liquid, beat Falcons. You know, they're getting there now.
Yeah, and for me, I'm evaluating this not just on, you know, wins or losses, but it's on the gameplay. Like, when you're watching G2IG play, I've been impressed by how fast they've gelled and how good some of the team fights have looked, the map play, the warding, all of these things. It just looks solid. That doesn't mean you're going to win this land. Like, maybe they come 6, maybe they come 3, maybe they don't lose it. They don't win a single game after this, but it's still a good sign because you're at the start of a new year. And you just want to have some promise so that people have confidence to build on that. You know, you feel like you can compete. That's the biggest thing. Do you feel like you can compete with these top-tier teams? For a lot of times, it just felt like a huge gap existed. And that's very difficult to overcome. It's existed in a lot of regions, too. Like, you have some dominant teams at the top of the region. Nobody feels like they can compete with them. I think NA is, like, the best example of that, right? There were years where it's like, who's competing with Shopify/EG stack in NA?
Right.
And you just
get shit on in the first 5 minutes, and you've lost your lanes, and you're down like 3K in the first 5 minutes. Yeah. Like, you don't really get to learn that much.
Right, so you spend 5 years learning how to lane, and then you go to LAN, you get shit on in the mid game, and it's like, well, this was useless, you know, not that I've been there, but it creates a sense of gatekeeping, and sometimes that just, like, hurts a region overall. It's like, well, why would I even try hard if I'm just gatekept? Not that anybody's gatekept, but...
Intentionally.
Right,
but, you know, accidental gatekeeping exists.
Things happen. The regions rise and fall, like empires, you know.
Yeah.
They come and go. I don't know. That's an interesting dynamic. But I think the more players get spread around regions, the better it is. And I think that's also a reason that C has sometimes. Because I feel like a lot of the talent gets sucked out of C.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people go to C, right? I think the only 2 instances I can remember that were like a Western captain or coach or something that went to C and tried to be there for a longer amount of time was outside of some of these random coaches. Was probably Demon.
Yeah.
On that TNC team that went to like the top 8 at TI.
Sure.
and Fly tried to join early T1 Talon roster.
Yeah, when they had to go through open qualifiers, and that bombed pretty hard.
Neither of them really lasted too long, right?
Yep.
And I think it's rare that you have Western players go into. I mean, it's also a hard cultural transition, both ways. So like a reason a lot of these C players end up going back to C. But I think it is a factor for the region. You get it feels a bit more isolated. And I think it's hard for them to go on LAN and play against like Western Europe. Like, how much experience do some of these TCs have with the Western European their strategization, their drafting, this type of stuff? I just feel like, you know, Eastern Europe, especially China, and sometimes even NA, just get more exposure to it because of like the mix of personalities at LAN, how people interact with each other. For example, at this point, I feel like NA and Western Europe, okay, I'm not saying NA competes with Western Europe, but a lot of NA players have gone to Europe, are working out successfully there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true for a lot of the C players who've gone to Europe to the same percentage, outside of some of the old ones like Mid One, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, Gabby went there and had like an okay run, but now he came back, right?
Yep. And that's what makes this season so interesting, is that we have C talent returning to Southeast Asia, and we've also got Taiga going back. So it's perhaps going to revitalize the Southeast Asian scene, though that hasn't worked out so far at this tournament. We are going to be back up online with the game coming up very shortly. Sounds like it's going to be around maybe less than 5 minutes. So we're going to take a short little break and come back with the game ready to go.
Say the power of luck. This hero's just so annoying for carries when he's charging through off low cooldown. He's also doing a crap ton of damage now. He has Ceremonial Rope plus the Kayayasha.
Oh, but he sees so many heroes immediately. Tofu's dead. That's a dieback. This fight is already over for Gaimin Gladiators. They got to get out of here. Well, Terraccio, maybe he can kill the Train Protector, pop the BKB at half health here. It's not looking good. Yeah, he gets run over by Tims and Gabby, and oh no, another bash coming through. Does manage to get off the cheese this time around. Quinn jumping down to the low ground with a swashbuckle, caught by the Rod of Atos. Samantha gets rid of that one. Another swash coming up in a second, but the control and damage is too much. Blacklist.
You just got to throw somebody into the wolf's mouth at this point. In theory, it should be Ace. Second life. But the wolf is scouting you in Viz.
Yeah, and he's catching Tofu every single time. The person who's supposed to be able to help them when their front line gets gone on. Gabby with the refresher goes for it. No, he actually managed to get away with the Manta, and the stun's turned up. He actually does sided blades. Terraccio is getting a man fight that he's actually winning for once. The Gladiators are cutting down Abed. What a fight for the carry of Gaimin Gladiators, showing there is still some life in this Luna to actually be able to carry. You surely learned the lesson there. Gabby has to disable the Luna.
Yeah, you focus Luna over this Pango for sure next fight, right?
Yeah. The problem is going to be either 2 lanes of barracks down, and maybe even a third. I mean, they're going to be getting in some sort of fight, but this is going to be a pick off of the Train Protector, who doesn't have a buyback. They're going to be a 4 versus 5, and maybe. Never let it be said, and of my word, I said less than 5 minutes, and we had less than 2. Already back in, ready to go with Gaimin Gladiators versus Azure, the opening game. Up in the upper bracket, if we're going to have any tiebreakers, a lot of questions are going to be resolved today, Avery.
It's going to start with some early warding. Furion TP, skilled level 1, you TP out, you ward the cliffs, you try and get the early D wards. They check the ward mid as well. So Gaimin know there's this Radiant Obs here. Probably try and fight for the D ward. Celery scouting will probably pay off. Downside is you have that teleport for the first waves on the lane. A little weaker. Actually going
It's going to be a contest here, 2 for 2, but Low is going to be in some trouble. Blocked up a bit. Quite get fully in front of him with the blood grenade's going to slow him down. Telekinesis is going to be leveled by Tofu to ensure he gets the kill over to Ace. So very nice of him. It does mean no Fade bolts, but probably worth it.
Aggressive contest by Low.
Yeah.
Maybe not expecting the TP by Furion. It will hurt Celery a bit. He will have to Oh, he guesses wrong on the ward. That's just a 50-50 they lost on. Interesting. I mean, the smoke out from Azure pays off here as they save their early obs on mid. See how much it helps XM, because this is big for the Viper usually. The high ground ward for Viper allows him to just, orb walk you a lot more on the lane. That's why Gaimin were looking for it. Like, they smoked out, they teleported out, they were really trying to secure the vision on the mid lane, because it would help Quinn a pretty decent amount here as the lane goes on between like 3 and 5. Well, not getting that's a pretty big deal. We'll see how much it pays off for XM on the later levels. Right now, take Scream, try and shove the lane in as much as you can, and win these early waves while you have a chance to win them, because 3 through 5 is not going to be pretty for the Quinn of Pain. Can't even say it right anymore. But it will help some of the side lanes here as, Celery battling hit against strong lane top as best he can. And I'm curious to see how well Q performs as the tournament goes on, because I think he's had a very good tournament so far. I think this is the standout player for this team. When he's cooking hot. Mort does another one of these, lane range damage the forwards you can shine on.
Yeah, we keep on going to the Muerta, and it's, not hard to see why when it gives. I feel like I see it more often than not that they're like killing a core solo with their
but
damage.
then I also feel like they lose the game.
Yeah, that might be possible.
Maybe I'm recency biased, but we'll see. I think it is a hero that can pop off with the kilter later. There's also this parting shot that is sometimes just ridiculously strong, but we don't see it in competitive a lot.
Yeah, I wish it was played with a little bit more, because it is very interesting ability.
Lone Druid lane dominance continues here as Lifestealer Tree, not enough sustain to battle up against level 1 Lift and a Bear. I don't know, this bottom lane has just not been played well by Azure early.
No, the fact that they lose a fight against telekinesis.
Yeah, with the Leech Seed plus a Lifesteal, like, it's just not been traded out well. They even had a double wave on them too. Like, this is wrong, Sometimes that is Lone Druid, I guess. Early waves are tough against Hero when he has an extra 2,500 HP between Bear lives.
Traditionally, Lifestealer has been a very good matchup against the Lone Druid, but I do kind of wonder if that matchup of these Lone Druids end up going mass Wraith Bands as soon as it takes a level minute 25. That's like a really healthy bump in armor against a hero that counters you through physical damage.
That's true. I also feel like this matchup was the best when Lifestealer was the most comfortable going Armlet, Deso, Ace type itemization.
Yeah.
I think Physical Burst is still one of the best ways to deal with Lone Druid, even though you have some Wraith Bands. I mean, there's like Slardar Lifestealers, probably still going to dumpster, but a lot of the modern Lifestealers are not opting for that type of itemization. It's more of like fight items or playing off the Infest. That's where a lot of the value from the hero comes. I just wonder how much that directly affects a hero like Lone Druid. Because this is a hero you're going to first pick. In fact, Gaming got its second phase in this draft. And they're very comfortable just letting Ace have a good game on it, and he's going to carry no matter what. The only times I think Gaimin feel bad with this hero are when his laning phase is atrocious. And they said in an interview, Celery was like, well, Ace is a great player to play with, unless he's having a rough game. You don't want to talk to him. I was like, okay, that's a little talk. What can you do? I've been there.
That's a modern off for sure.
I mean, that was his
There's
words,
no
by the
way.
way, not mine.
Yeah, I know. I believe it.
When he's having a rough game, you don't want to play with him. Okay.
I'm just saying, like, 2013 offlaners, there's no way they could have that kind of personality because every lane was a bad lane.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That quote has come a long way, right? Because that quote 10 years ago, I played with some people where it's like when they were having a good game, you still didn't want to play with them. So we've come a long way. Now when you're having a good game,
you want to name any names or
no?
No.
I'll think about it.
Okay. Either way, it does feel like I just checked it out. It's not even in the top 10 not even in the top 20 of counters to Lone. It is way down the list. The Lifestealer versus Lone Druid matchup. He has an advantage, but it is barely an advantage to speak of.
In this meta, if I'm trading Lone Druid for Lifestealer, I'd rather have both. I just don't think the hero is near. So he does have Empower in this game. It's a pretty big factor. And again, like when you pick Lifestealer to deal with heroes, it's not usually in the one-on-one. It's about how the team fight plays out, the map plays out. It's a hero generally you can leave alone a bit more, so maybe it gives you more support mobility and you can affect other matchups. Things like this. This is what ideally you want to use Lifestealer for. And I've always thought about this hero as Infest is a huge spell for another core if you have one you can use. So like this game, if you ever Infest as Viper and maybe he just becomes too tanky off the effective HP bump.
Sure, any hero that has higher magic resistance or higher armor, it's a big boost from just flat HP from Lifestealer.
The most effective Lifestealer player I've seen is, I think, Liquid. He was one of the only people who was picking it in some of those metas, and he was very effective with it on Liquid. Not just because Matumba Man's a very solid player, but like he was using that Infest to give 1 HP Mickey Pango or infest a lot of their right-click mids like Shadow Fiend or the Leshrac strategies, right? High damage mids benefit a lot from Lifestealer because he makes them innately way tankier, and I think that's one of the best effects this hero can have on the game. So if you're Azure Ray and you're going into this game saying, hey, we're going to have like an empowered Lifestealer, an empowered Viper, which, you know, not the greatest, but it's still decent. This Viper is our mid damage dealer who should have a good lane in Snowball. Maybe the Lifestealer has like a general effect in that. They're going to value it for that. But in terms of the vacuum Lone Druid matchup, yeah, Lone Druid has gameplay. He can get a Basher, he can get a Mjolnir, he can take it to you.
You know, and the Magnus Viper duo is really sick.
Nosedive into RP.
Level 25 Viper.
I knew you were going to say that.
Becomes universal, and all of a sudden that empower damage gets like double.
All right, you want to hear my bold take?
Yeah,
I think the Viper level 25 universe overrated.
For how much it's talked about, I would not
drop the meme hammer. Drop the hate hammer.
You know, we have a. I think Reddit.
I think an actuality of how many games that talent changes from a loss to a win. I think it's fair. Like, I think you're either winning the game with level. Mega skewed, you know. You get to level 25 and fight, you're probably
he's already
supposed to win that
He hasn't
game.
even gotten the numbers that he's already being defensive about.
I feel like the level 25.
Hey, there it is.
Pick rate, whatever.
Yeah, win rate 50%.
Yeah,
it's
so
not
overrated.
That
actually supports me.
Yeah,
But what I'm saying
that's
is,
what I was saying. You shouldn't be defensive. It might support
I feel like Viper is a hero where his level 25 talent could be like, you know, you lose your attack animation and like you wouldn't do anything. It could also be like you randomly get an item deleted, and I feel like the hero's win rate would still be the same.
Okay. What if level 25 talent was like you get an additional item slot? I've been thinking about that a lot because of Nature's Prophet and having to carry a Quelling Blade all the time.
You're gonna take a level talent though. Blade.
Not saying that's what I would do with it. I'm just saying, you know, how Dota would change if you threw it. This lane is.
Yeah, this is I mean, I don't want to like, you know, sound extreme, but this is a problem that might make your game very difficult.
Wow, what an extreme statement. I have to apologize to the audience for the hot takes that are coming out of this man today.
I mean, because whenever I say lanes are so bad that it might just cost you the game, people are like, well, the game's not over that early, you know? But I'm telling you, the way this lane is going and the way it should be going, this is a big problem because you are giving Lone Druid a massive head start here. You're giving arguably maybe the best Lone Druid player in the world right now a massive head start on a team that plays around him very well. And your Lifestealer has gone to jungle at minute 3. You know, Low he's playing Golem catch-up here with the Ogres in the jungle, and it's very slow. He has Gauntlets and a Quelling Blade, and he's level 2. So this lane is just gone from the game. It's gone. That was your Viper level 25 talent. My safe lane no longer exists.
And considering the fact that they are so reliant on being able to win lane to get momentum there, And the mid matchup is going very well. 17 and 12, XM has a ton of denies over this Queen of Pain, a hero that is very reliant on experience
Radiant's middle
to have an
tower is
impact
under
on the game.
attack.
So that is going well, but it feels like you need to win more than just one lane. You need to kind of like
I mean,
get the ball rolling and just
lose the lane this bad.
Yeah,
Like this lane doesn't even really matter too much for Azure because they have Empower for the Lifestealer anyway, but it can't go this disastrously. Right now, it is an absolute disaster as Low just has no gameplay down here, and there is nobody in bottom lane except Treant soaking XP. I guess you go Living Armor now and throw it somewhere else, but this is going to be a really fast diffuser from Ace, and this is going to be something that Azure are going to have to bring heroes to address. It's not impossible. Their other two lanes are going quite well, so, you know, XXS having a terrific time up top. Duraccio, he's suffering a bit, but he is finding some farm. Of course, Celery, if he wants to lead this lane, he can, but it's looking tough to do it.
hit him with the skewer to slow him down a little bit more. Blood Grenade lands, and they'll get that kill. Now, XXS may be in some trouble still because Tofu TP's on in, and they will trade out. Forcing a rotation, though, is something.
Yeah, you relieve some of the pressure from bottom.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. It's not like they're going to kill the Lone Druid while the support is gone, and I'm not even sure if Lifestealer can comfortably lane. Oh, okay. I would have fate bolted it.
Low's so happy right now. He's like, oh, thank God, dude.
My game was over if I missed that creep.
20% of my net worth just flashed before my eyes. Please, no.
There's that Living Armor coming into play. Could be really impactful because they are trying to make a move onto XM right now. He does have Fairy Fire and Magic Wand stacks, so it is not a very easy kill.
Scanning.
Want the Power Rune at least for their troubles, but Celery's going to be chased away. Goes for the deny, actually hits him with the Sprout instead, so the regen doesn't
That's nice.
get any regen onto XM.
Yeah, that would have been a very nice. And by the way, this mid lane is not a disaster for Quinn. Pretty much playing this damn well and almost even in net worth.
I think
Very
it's
well
just
done
the
for him.
levels where he's feeling it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to lose somewhere in this lane, but if he's even net worth on Queen, he gets to level 6, you can kill for even, you're really happy with that outcome.
The support's constantly rotating into mid. That is certainly a possibility.
Like, this is the point where you want to be killing the Queen station, not maybe getting turned around on yourself. Gaimin are willing to bring the numbers with the Fury on.
Are they going to be able to make this
7-minute route.
rotation in time? Are you too late? Tofu's making a run for it. We'll get there in time for the contest. Yeah, shouldn't happen.
theory, yeah.
Telekinesis is off cooldown, so Tofu, as long as he sees it coming, which he does, away.
Bottom lane can plague Azure a bit.
You're not going to say that too often. Feeling bad for a carry.
Either
Like borderline.
at least that's a good hero to jungle. Got that going for him, and you got broom handles. So honestly, things are looking up. You know, if you're gonna get trashed on lane, you may as well find the broom to yourself away, sweep your tears away, and come back.
Yeah, now all he needs to do is purchase the dustpan.
By the way, defusal done for Ace. This must be like the fastest all time. I don't know. Crazy fast.
Still in the trees, goes for a desperate TP away,
Oh.
and it works.
Wait, he only lived because the bear got intimidated, right?
Yeah, if it intimidated before any of those hits came in, he lived with like 5 HP, so it would have made the difference. Hearing him back into the silence, really nicely played. Unfortunately, it's a Morphling, so a hero that is just very difficult to bring down.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Can you ever kick the Rachu out of here to trade the tier 1? Because you know your tier 1 safe lane's going to be inevitable. So can you get the trade top? This lane has gone really well for them. XXS has had a pretty decent lane phase.
Oh, he tried to sneak it.
Close.
I remember Darachi's been caught by those before. This time, though. They certainly can't kick Duraccio out by surprise killing him, I don't think, because they don't have that kind of initiation. Tianming's going to die again in this
Yeah.
bottom lane.
It lingered a little too long. I mean, he got some decent XP out of here, is pretty much all you can do, but clock ticks and Druid comes for all. Reign of Terror.
And against a lone druid, this living armor is going to feel kind of useless when it comes to keeping the towers
Radiant's
alive.
bottom tower
In
is
this
under
game,
attack.
Pace is going to be too fast here, especially when Celery can connect as well. You can't just linger around these towers. Backstab is guaranteed.
Radiant's
That'll be a
bottom
fast
tower
tier 1
is
down.
falling.
His net worth continues to escalate. Quinn's doing a little creep stealing.
It's maxed out Scream. He just needs to focus on farming since can't do much about that mid matchup.
This is generally the gameplay, right? Just ignore the Viper. It's not like Viper's the scariest jungle hero. He's not going to take your tower. Just go make plays elsewhere if you don't want to interact. Hope you get some power ins. Ema's looking fairly solid for Gaimin at the moment.
Low's not level 6, so dangerous, but fortunately underneath the tier 2 and the lead seed, they can make the trade-off with the bear. Can we see that that pop-up again? How much gold did he get out of lane creeps? 260 compared to 2,600 on the lone druid. Oh, man.
That's going to be like an all-time low. No pun. You know, like, that means he went to lane, hit like 6.
Yeah.
Never saw another for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The funny thing is his net worth doesn't look that bad, right? It's the power of jungle.
It's not the
Okay, I
worst.
know it's bad, but like, it's not like he doesn't exist.
Yeah, jungling at level 2, you would expect a little bit worse than that. They are going to be able to kill the tree, but Quinn is going to try and protect the bear here. The bear is going to be dying, but they're going to get a lot of kills in return for it, as XM is going to be chased down thanks to this taste room. Quinn, he makes it pretty easy. A 3 for
Are fortified.
A bear.
0.5. Yeah.
Radiant structures are
Ace is just... There's no way you're fighting him right now. He has it's diffusal orb on this bear. It's so damn strong, especially if he has the resummon in the fight. And Tofu just gets to steal Viper spells, throw him around. He now has a full Viper Strike ready for the next engagement. Very nice spell to have
Radiant's
early.
top tower is under attack.
Scary.
This map is collapsing fast. And you got to remember, the whole time this is happening, Duracho just gets to sit top. And this is where Morphling thrives. Morphling loves these games where the fights are happening away from him. He just gets soul XP, free farm. It is also one of the carries that will take your tower when he gets left alone. So he's just chilling. He's got to be thinking, I'm having a way better game than Low down there. He would be correct in that assessment. It'll be an Ags rush for Egg.
It is
God
a good
damn.
way to answer lone druid.
Yeah, disarm.
Disarm,
Attack
good
speed
attack
slow.
speed slow, doubles it up, gives him more magic resistance against Wop.
I believe in the idea. Let's see if the execution is there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if I ever believe in any Viper game when you're down 5k at
Okay,
12
yeah,
minutes.
that's part of it. All right, Low taking the man fight.
Low is losing the man fight.
You gotta keep hitting him. You don't have a
Low
choice.
doesn't have mana. Low doesn't have Infest. Low is going to die a very sad, painful death here.
Is he? He looks like he's chilling. The helm on the courier. Don't lose more network.
No!
Oh
He had the empty slot and everything.
Honestly, he should have just ran back and gotten his helm.
Yeah, just accept it.
Yeah, that was like even worse. Tried to live. Sometimes it's better to die. 900
Potential
network.
shortest match record. 18 minutes and 59 seconds is the record set at this tournament. We could be looking at a brand new ESL 1 Kuala Lumpur record. The way this game is going so far for Azure.
If it weren't for this lifestealer, I feel like they're doing okay.
Yeah, if you just ignore the bottom lane entirely.
Yeah, if you ignore like a third of what happened in the last. You know, okay, like, you know, put your hand over Ace's net worth.
Yeah.
Pretty good, you know. Not too bad. Like, he's their whole lead, right? I mean, Gaimin has a 6k gold lead, but that's all lone druid.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's an even game. Everybody has
Damn
10
straight,
fantasy
son.
points in this one.
You gotta look on the bright side. Quick smoke here, trying to utilize this lone druid strength as much as possible, as Echo Saber has done as well.
I like it when supports cut down trees to get better wards. Always a
Yeah,
cool
then
idea.
it gets dewarded because they saw you cut the...
Yeah, but you know, that's bad luck. XM bursted down way too quickly for supports to come in and help out in time. They just simply have too many levels on Gaimin Gladiators.
Arcane Sonic Wave as well, so up again in 65 here. And this is one of those spells that, okay, this Queen Viper matchup been stuck on lane, but
Oh,
honestly,
we missed! Shin-Q knew that Dyrachyo was making a run for the Wisdom Rune.
that's gonna hurt.
It gets worse and worse and worse.
Well,
It's the danger of Gaimin Gladiators, man. They did it at TI, made that incredible lower bracket run by steamrolling over teams in 20, 25, 30 minutes, way faster than any other team was playing at that time, and they continued to demonstrate that, as they saw earlier. Currently hold the record for the fastest game against Wawitas, but this game looking like they're going to demolish Azure Ray just as quickly, unless something dramatic happened. Problem is that I don't really see a game-changing ability. Viper doesn't give you that sort of like big playmaking, right?
it's Skewer and RP.
It's Skewer RP.
Blink is up for
Entirely
XXS. His game is still fine, but he's got to start making something happen.
Yeah.
And you have to bring these spells together with damage. So it has to be the Viper Ags or the supports. Go with the mag and for the best, right? Create the space for Lifestealer on the backside of finding the Lone Druid. The thing about Lone Druid is this hero can be as big as anything, but if you catch him before he ults, he'll just instantly.
Yeah.
So sometimes if you get a really good ward, you get 1 or 2 kills on this hero, you can come back. You can pop the big gold pinata. Not impossible here. Azure Ray will keep their composure, and they will try and find what they can on the map right now and equalize it. Hope that Empower and some big RP gets them back in this game, as the Ags for XM done. Signal the big comeback mechanism with the nosedive. Just got to get a good fight out of it, and this is perhaps the fight that Azure Ray will want to take. This tier 2 bottom, they will TP everybody. But the ward
Dyrachyo getting a ward for himself. He's
down.
immediately going to be silenced. Sonic Wave, XM is going to get burst pretty quickly. He's rooted. He can actually get off the nosedive for now, but the Infest is going to be able to come in. That helps out a little bit more, but XM eventually does fall. Dyrachyo is still in some trouble, though. Healed up too quickly. He's actually perfectly fine. Got a little close there, but now it's going to be Gaimin Gladiators just running over Azure Ray and getting as many kills as they can collect. 2 for Ace.
Radiant structures are fortified.
That is one of those fights. I think Azure Ray can actually win that fight if they're there a bit faster and they take the fight around XM sooner, right? Because this fight starts with a ward from Gaimin behind the tower, and they instantly delete XM basically to such a low HP point that the rest of the fight is salvaging that. This RP is pretty nice. You almost get the burst on Dyrachyo.
It was close.
And you do kill a bear off the Lifestealer. There were some decent things happening here. One of the biggest factors, though, is you had no mana on Tianming for Overgrowth.
Oh,
Like, this is the only fight that probably gets you back in that game, and you didn't get a tree and ulti off because you lack the mana in the fight. That's just something that really can't happen, right? Like, that's a huge spell for an extension past the tier 2 versus a right-click lineup. You just need it there. And that's what I'm saying. If that syncs up more, let's say you have an Overgrowth while the Viper still has some fight left, that fight can look very different, right? Not an impossible engagement.
got him on the side. Pushback. Great execution from Shin-Q.
This is the type of interaction that can happen. That's what I'm saying. I mean, this game is one-sided, but the team fight for Azure Ray is not that hard, honestly, if you can land some of these spells. The defensive items are not there yet for Gaming, so their heroes are still susceptible. If you catch the LD before the ulti, if you catch the Morphling before he starts morphing in the silences, he just gets deleted. He does not have the Manta yet. And Quinn doesn't have a defensive item either on the Queen.
I will give another reason why that last fight really sucked. They picked up the Aghanim Scepter on XM. Did you see what happened? I thought he couldn't nosedive because he was controlled by the bear. He tried to nosedive almost immediately. The Sonic Wave hit him, and force movement stops him from landing. And so he only had the passive effect of Aghanim Scepter. He never got to use the active because the force movement of Sonic Wave killed it.
Well, that's a Viper problem.
Yeah, that's a Viper problem for sure. Nice 2-man RP, though, into the silence as well. That looks real pretty. Azure Ray bouncing back after a terrible laning phase and showing that, hey, we know how to play team fights.
You doubted him. You doubted him.
Yeah.
You doubted the Lifestealer jungle strat.
The level 2 Lifestealer. I don't think that's a strategy.
Well, it's working out here.
I think that's
this game is looking all of a sudden not that bad.
I think level 2 Lifestealer, that's repentance for the sins of a bad laning.
I mean, they found the openings that I talked about, though, right? The silence on the Morphling before the Dispel and the RP on the LD before the ult.
Yeah.
And if you find those, you're just going to delete them. There's no saves on game inside. I also think their supports, this is the period in the game where their supports are maybe weaker than Azure Rays. Like, even though they have more net worth, even though they can impact the map a lot more, I think in the actual 5-on-5, their spells are not that impactful, right? You kind of need to get like a really good spell on the Rubik and break the Viper back or steal RP or something like this. But if that doesn't happen, what spells are contributing in the fight that actually impact it? Like Sprout isn't doing much here. Nature's Wrath, whatever. This Overgrowth and the Calling are winning you fights right now. So keep finding these types of skirmishes. You're really happy. And Ace's game got slowed down a bit. That's one death, but that is a very impactful death here as he's the biggest net worth in the game and Harpoon completed. Gaimin do not want to get caught off anymore. They want to take the fight on their terms.
Frankly, both Morphling and Lone Druid have the same weakness where you caught off guard, your entire net worth goes away in a flash. Good catch though on XM.
Oh, he just
stole it, nosedive on the Rubik. That is a bold move. It's going to get him killed. A 1-for-1 trade-off so far with the bear going down as well.
No resummon for 60 here.
Okay.
I honestly think Azure Ray are kind of happy with that.
I think so too.
Economically not the best, but it gives them a lot of time here because now Ace has no bear for 50 and he used ult for it. Huh. This is such a weird game.
Not normal. Sure.
And honestly, the Lifestealer has been doing some work versus Pear. He kind of just walks in and kills it.
Ball.
Yeah, I don't know if Tofu... I think it's one of those things that seems great in your mind until you're there and you're like, wait, this kind of sucks.
Yeah, guys, look how cool this is going to be.
This bear dies fast, man. Really dies fast. You get some Viper stacks on and the Lifestealer can come in with Empower. He hits a lot harder than he normally would with this network. Got Empower to back you up.
A big factor in this matchup, though, in the modern era of Lone Druid versus Lifestealer is being able to have the Shard. That has made a huge difference in some of these fights. The Lifestealer being able to put open wounds on the bear, slowing down the bear, giving him a bunch of sustain, but then there's the threat of it bouncing over to other heroes in the team fight.
This interactions look quite good in this team fight. It impressed me how good it's looked. I mean, I know it's like, well, it should be that. Honestly, it feels like Ace hasn't been able to use despite the start he was given. So back to farming. Gotta get this Basher. That's one of the things that can sway this Lifestealer matchup. Probably the best itemization for Lone Druid here.
Yeah, Basher, AC, those are big
the
timings.
armor and the disable is what you're looking for. I guess one of the questions Gaimin are gonna have to answer as these fights have swung back Azure Ray's way is, like, where's your sustained damage coming from in the fight if the bear dies? Is it just all in the Morphling? Because you have a Sonic Wave you can throw out, but it's not going to kill these tanky heroes. At best, you have 2 strength heroes, Mag's pretty tanky. You have Tree and Armor Overgrowth, Leech Seed that can buy some time. Viper is Viper, you know? Hero's beefy. Stolen Empower will help.
Radiant's middle tower.
Well, Furion does have Solar Crest and Pipe, so it's a lot harder to kill that bear, again,
Yeah, that helps.
when they see the fight coming.
And Gaimin are picking up more damage. So I'm talking about the sustained damage in the fight. It'll be Manta Diffusal for Garachio. Looking for an early Disperser. Pretty interesting. Maybe just wants to help him. I mean, help them reposition in the fight, I guess, right?
Yeah.
The extra Surge move speed, pretty nice here. Spell. I could see it be pretty interesting, unconventional early itemization here for Morphling, but if he has an Aegis, being aggressive doesn't hurt. And you have that Pipe and Solar Crest to back you up on top of Quinn finishing an Ags on the Queen. So you have a lot more sustained damage now between all the AoE daggers going out and this Morphling just running through, burning him. Gaimin would now, I think, like to find the 5-on-5. Big items coming through. Looks a lot more favorable.
It's just as low as about to pick up a Radiance. It's a big team fight item for Azure Ray.
By the way, he's the level at... Bet you didn't have that on your bingo card there, Austin.
I did not. No. Listen, I'm not ashamed to say that I
Austin.
counted Azure Ray out here.
No Faith Walsh.
Terrible, Nick.
It's okay, we all know you're biased.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want. More Western Europe dominance. My dream. RP straight up. Is this going to be enough burst damage? It is by By Aegis.
Yeah, did not do a lot for him here. They're gonna try and still catch, however, with the Fury on
Celery
TV.
TPing in aggressively to see if he can catch somebody, but they've got Skewer and Blake.
out of there. XXS continuing to find these openings. Like it hasn't been some crazy, 10-0 game for him, but he is 2-1-1. I feel like it's a pretty damn impactful 2-1-1 given their position. As he found the big RP by their triangle on 2, and now killing an Aegis, slowing down momentum some more. Quinn aggressively blinks in. That might be regrettable, my friend.
Yeah, I don't think you want to be fighting a Viper underneath a tier 2 that aggressively. This is not the same Viper you were bullying just
Bear.
10 minutes ago. Bear on Lifestealer battle here with Durancio coming in. The man has been completely burned out of low. He doesn't have a way out of this one. He's going to be stuck to overgrowth.
Still
And
fighting.
immediately popped out. The heals are coming through,
Stolen
but eventually
from-
it's going to rare out. Now XXS skewering in Tofu, trying to get some small pickups out of this one. Well, they are going to buy back for this one. Oh, they see an opportunity. They need the Lifestealer for the damage.
fear
Oh
miss.
no, the fear shot missed. And Ace gets hit by the skewer. XXS to the rescue once again, but they need to be able to blink to catch him
So damn
still.
fast.
It's outside of vision. They see him now. They got him with the Hurricane Bike and pull him back in. A buyback from low. That was crucial in being able to turn that around. Very favorable fight in the end for Azure.
Yeah, they gained a lot of golden XP out of that, and maybe the real winner is XM out of all that. He just gets to sit there with Viper under the Nether Toxin. Everybody's hitting him. Everybody's proccing. He's slowing everything. Just a nasty place to be in. And again, it starts with Quinn over aggressiveness, right?
Yep.
Feels like he can poke and get away with it, but Magnus with Harpoon, one of the best catch mechanisms in Dota right now, and it shows its prowess in this fight as XXS just locks everybody in a pit of hell. The fact Low survived for this long too, he's Radiance burning everybody here, pretty big. Stolen overgrowth from Tofu, really nice here as it locks people down, but it's just not enough. You're in Viper land right now, and it is not fun for you.
Yeah, we finally get to see the power of that disarm from XM against the Lone Druid. Works out very nicely.
And they got 2 bears out of that. 2 bears into the Lone Druid kill.
Oh, wow, that's even better.
That is a lot of gold going in your pocket. 5 bears have been slain. Harpoon has landed some big targets. Say that much.
Look at the Train Protect somehow picked up one of those last hits. And as a result, he is closing in on a Blink Dagger. He can use the Mighty Minds buff.
I will say living armor has been very annoying gaming to deal with in this fight.
I didn't think Mighty Minds gave you mana.
We're wishing well.
What a weird... What a weird thing in Dota. Literally nobody ever talks about. Doubt anybody really...
Guess who's the highest level in the game?
Is it low?
It's your boy Low. He's started from the bottom, now he's here at the top. Doubters in shambles.
Not in the top of net worth, but definitely top in experience, and XXS is not too far away. He's going to be joining him in that level 18 spot soon as well.
Dire's bottom tower.
That was also the Basher air timing. Didn't really help the man fight. See, Gaimin, I feel like they're still kind of searching for answers in these team fights. Not that they're going that bad, but they should be going better, right? They should. Yeah. I feel like this is a game where they think they should be up a lot more. Maybe they should, but
They probably feel like they should have been able to take like Elena Barracks by now.
Azure playing a really solid defensive game here in game 1 as they're holding their map and consistently baiting Gaimin into going into them, which is where their lineup thrives. Durancio, you have a gem on you.
Oh, almost got him on the RP, but Durancio sees it coming this time. Disperser to help get him out.
Yeah, that Obs just saved a lot of net worth right there. Seeing that they gave gem to them
Dire's middle tower is under
via
attack.
smoke. Trying to still find a fight that starts on their terms. I feel like that has been the biggest issue for them. The one fight that went well for them was bottom, where they got the ward behind the tier 2, and they started on the Viper. Those types of engagements are the best because then Quinn can play the distance game, and he's not getting bursted.
Dire's
Fights
middle
where
tower is
you're
under
going
attack.
into Azure and they're all set up, it's tough.
Yeah, no more aggressively blinking into
No. He
the
learned his
fight, I
lesson.
think.
Definitely learned. By the way, we do have a Raider Healing Lotus on Tofu. That is actually pretty good. Eat it to somebody.
Haste.
Something to look out for sure. How's Jin Q making his? Oh, Duraccio missing that fear shot, but he's got the vision.
No power.
Wow, he really bastard first the hell out of him.
How's he doing down here? Oh, team.
Oh God, he's dead.
This will open up that high ground. Like we were saying, this is totally when they want to be going high ground, so maybe that's all it takes.
They are going to be matched up. It's
Radiant structures
the Tree and
are
Protector lineup, so poking, unless you're going to be taking the building outright, maybe a
I
little
don't think
fruitless.
you can siege like this. I think
No, I
the bear
don't
just
think so
dies
either.
every time for free. You have a EKB on low too, so he's not afraid to commit the rage and still have, you know, get out of jail free card, right?
I don't see how they're still sticking around. After that bear got massacred, I'd be hightailing it.
Also, you have Viper Shard. You're starting to, you know, you increase the stacks, you do some armor. The high ground defense is formidable here. This is a mag lineup plus a Viper that can frontline with living armor. Not an easy poke.
That magic amp would be pretty nice as Jin Q gets bigger as well, right? None of the other heroes really take advantage of that lowered magic resistance, but
Honestly, this game looks hard for Gaimin if it goes late, right?
yeah, I think so too.
I think they need Aegis's in a pretty big lead. I feel like the synergy and the power on everybody here is just going to overwhelm you. Like, those are generally not the games Lone Druid wins in this meta either, at least in my opinion. I know the opinions on this are like super varied. This hero obviously can go late in these like dual tri-core lineups and be a threat. I'm not saying he can't win late game, but I feel like the hero's designed to tempo you. Like, get Diffusal, get Harpoon, get Roshan's, and you're going high ground around this time period. That's an ideal Lone Druid game. So the fact that it's getting stalled out a bit right now, I think Azure Ray are happy with that. I mean, especially considering they had a jungle lifestealer, you know?
Sneaking around, Duraccio keeping the same MO of just really aggressively putting himself out there with the Shadowblade Gem combination, getting good information from Gaimin Gladiators as they are going to be playing for this next Roshan.
Did this disperser pay off? That's the big question.
I don't think so.
I don't think we've seen it be huge.
It may have paid off in that one
He's
fight.
just run into a smoke right now.
It's gonna break on him, getting a lot of information. XM running into the bear, immediately gonna try and target that one. The Sonic Wave pushing away. The bear trying to retreat, but low. He's gonna stick onto that bear. The fear shot's gonna push him in even deeper, and they get the RP that grabbed
that's a good
Duraccio.
one.
Beautiful
Well, turn around.
a stolen RP, but it's not good enough. It has come too late to be able to bail out the carry, so no damage behind it. And Tofu, he'll be munched on here. There goes that Lotus. Stole Rage, but it doesn't matter. Low. Finish him off with the physical damage, and it's Azure Ray who will now completely take an advantage in this game, winning the fight and taking Roshan for themselves.
I don't know. These fights look impossible, man. Like, how do you start it that leads to anything, right? Damage is Morphling and a bear. They have to get in close range. You don't have burst damage for the Viper because you only have like one lift. So the second the Viper nosedives and he just sits there. Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
You need a breaks or more long-range poke, maybe Fury on Ags?
I mean, I will say, not having AC at this point on the bear, this matchup looks terrible.
Yeah, it's rough.
In the Lifestealer versus Lone Druid matchup when you have no additional armor on the bear yet.
I mean, he's also just Radiance burning everybody and there's no MK.
Dire's bottom tower
Yeah,
is
yeah.
under
So you're not
attack.
breaking anything. You're not getting rid of the passes. You're not piercing the evasion. The supports have been hard for Gaimin to focus, right? Murtha with an ult that reliably gets off, and it's an Invis Treant. So it's not like you can just, oh, let's kill the backline and take a numbers fight. It's a very tough game, honestly. The more, it just seems like, I don't want to say it's an outdraft, but the more I watch these fights, it's like a brick wall.
I mean, I think it's fair to say an outdraft if you win lanes that hard and can't close it out.
But
Even if you could say there's some mistakes.
Sure,
and
but
stuff.
Gaimin, when they watch this replay, right, they're gonna, I guarantee you, they're, wow, because we were up like 10K and didn't get anything done. Like, that's how they're gonna feel, which I think theoretically is probably true. I think there's a lot of routes they close that game out and maybe one or two good RPs that switches the game, but yeah, like when you have a jungle lifestealer and you're winning team fights, I mean,
Radiant's top tower is under
something
attack.
conceptually is going your way. And now you have a heart for Viper who already felt unkillable. This is getting
Dire's middle
brutal,
tower
man.
is
You have an
under
Ags on low as well, so he can just aggressively infest if he wants to. Another disarm mechanic, right? We're talking about the disarm messing with the Lone Druid in the
Dire's
Morphling.
middle tower
You
has
just can't
fallen.
hit anything. And like we saw in that fight, even if you get the stolen RP, if the damage isn't alive to take advantage of it, good does it do?
It feels like the Bear needs both BKB and AC.
He needs he's an AC, he needs an MKB. He's going Ags.
He's going to Ags. So are they changing?
But he wants to buff the Morph, I
Dire's
guess.
top tower has fallen.
Yeah.
Radiant's bottom tower
Isn't
is
this
under
mainly
attack.
for like the armor though?
Dire's top
I mean,
tower
more.
is under
It's a
attack.
healthy amount of attack speed that you. So
But the Morph thing. Oh, you're gonna catch 2 here.
that is rough.
Yeah, that's nice catch.
Good
Nothing.
catch by Tianming. Oh, blink away just before the Fear shot and TP out.
out.
That works.
All right, really nice play from Tofu to get out of there. You're still losing your Morph lane. Watcher just can't find his footing in this game. What I was saying is, like, is Morph lane the hero? Like, when you're in this game, you're watching these fights. If I'm Dyrachyo, am I sitting there going, guys, I just need some more armor and attacks? Maybe. I don't know. I just don't know if that's worth 4K on the Lone Druid to get. Like, Vlad's and drums here from Celery. I'm all for that, right? Because you do need more sustained fighting power, but I think it has to come from the supports who you just have to scale better. Problem you're being. It pays off. It's an interesting itemization.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Well, I think I could safely say that neither one of us is Lone Druid players. So
Speak
this
for
is
yourself.
Dire's bottom tower
all
has
right.
fallen.
I'm looking forward to seeing you break it out in our party queue games.
The last time I played Lone Druid
Dire's
Flax
bottom
with
tower
Dota for
is
a
under attack.
I don't think I'm going back to that.
Dire's structures are
I will. I'll just wait and see. Maybe this Aghanim Scepter is going to be super sick. I can't say I've ever seen it in a professional match.
Dire's bottom tower.
Certainly not what I would have expected, but here it is. Skewer back in. Quinn able to make the blink away. No problem there. Oh,
God, Skewer. He's gonna
an
try and-
opportunity, but Tofu
That would have
not
been a nice
able to
grab.
get it.
That was a gem tree, and he almost.
Yeah,
that would have been a big one. This is still a good spell. This is a spell that can change the dynamic of the fights. If you get some like blink skewer on a hero, you can isolate them. Suddenly this ball isn't as strong. Majorays are gonna get another bear kill here. Can't do
getting
anything
them.
about it. And they have killed a lot of bears this game. Oh, good top of the XP, and now he's top of the net worth. Road to recovery has not been pretty, but it has been there. And they are up net worth for the first time in this game. Tremendous comeback. A game many would have rode off. That is another reason why there should never be a concede button in Dota. You would have pressed it, Austin.
I would have.
You are a weaker man.
If I was XXS, I would have been like, what the hell is going on in this bottom lane? But, I mean, shout out to, I feel like he was the catalyst for this turnaround. He gave them their only moves were some of the RPs that he had and got them through to the point where everybody else could start having it in.
He made 2 or 3 moves, but they were 2 or 3 very impactful moves. Now they're trying to get to this MKB. So the MKB on Dyrachyo, you know, that plus the Silver Edge, I can start to see some of this damage come out. You can land some stuns in like a lift or stolen RP, maybe a Savage Roar on Sonic Wave, and Dyrachyo gets some time to actually hit people.
Yeah.
I can see the MKB plus that Silver Edge start to get there, especially when you have Vlad, Solar Crest, Boots of Bearing on Celery to back it up. There's a lot of auras on this Furion right now. A lot of auras.
Oh, he gave the Aghanim Scepter to them. So it wasn't his Aghanims on the... Which I think that just means that you're looking for more, like you feel like you can't take team fight straight up,
Yeah.
right? And you're just
Yeah, it's the old LD Ags that'll rat up the map.
Yeah.
I guess that was always a factor. I just didn't consider it because we almost never see that either, right? But I guess that signifies that they feel this game needs to go late now, right?
Yeah.
Like 6 slots, everybody. They cannot end it. I think that is a fair assessment. Because you can't go high ground. Even if you get the next Aegis, how are you going high ground, right?
Yeah.
So
I guess it is a healthy amount of armor he's getting out of the Aghanim Scepter when you go the Wraith Band build. It shares, it increases the share by 35%, so...
Celery will pay the price for... Damn, he Havoc hammered him.
Yeah.
Havoc Hammer Viper.
He's gonna nosedive in and then pull them all together.
Yeah, I like it actually. That's pretty cool. I mean, he has so much strength as well.
Yep. Wait, what? Is that a first right there? Dyrachyo, he's gonna battle it out here after support dies.
Yeah, but he's disarmed.
Yeah, that
Dispel
low.
that.
Making use of that axe. They're gonna turn back. Oh, got a bash. Quinn, he's dead. What was he doing joining in on this fight?
He just had no game, man. I mean, every time he blinks into a fight, he just dies. So, I guess he needs to stop blinking into the fight, but
Dire's bottom barracks
what else
are
is
under
Queen of Pain
attack.
supposed to do in a way?
Why did Tian Ping get a Mindbreaker, by the way?
Silence, bro.
Dire's bottom
Yeah.
barracks has fallen.
This game might just be over on that.
Yeah. I mean,
Your building's gonna melt to Empower plus the Viper Shard.
yeah, they're going to be forced into some buybacks, surely, but they're already in a situation where they need more items.
Dyrachyo with the
Dyrachyo
break.
got the break onto him. Manta immediately trying to back away, but he's invested, already taking so much damage. Telekinesis trying to toss away, but Tofu can't bail him out. He's dead, no buyback there. And without the Morphling, they frankly just do not have the damage. As the Bear can't do anything, not against this lifesteal and disarm coming out from this Viper. And now that the Bear's gone, now that the Water Boy's gone as well, there's really nothing left in the elements for Gaimin Gladiators. They'll stick around for this fight, try and poke at some of these heroes.
Wins
Another
the war.
invest usage. Jumping onto Bear this time around, start putting the damage back into
All right,
him.
he's
Easily getting these kills.
Yeah, that's it.
GG.
Yeah, what an interesting game, honestly. Like, I feel like this is a very frustrating game for Gaimin because this was going pretty much exactly how they planned it, right? Like lane dominance, they're probably thinking in 10 minutes this game is over. They have a jungle lifestealer.
Yep.
But none of those team fights felt that one-sided given their position, and they couldn't translate it into ending this game. That was another question. They were in a very good position, and that high ground still seemed impossible. Like, what are you doing going high ground here, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Something either
Still.
I mean, Gaimin respect this right now. How much they believe in Dyrachyo being able to just sit here and take the fight. They also got a gem out of that, pretty big.
I mean, I would say, screw it, you're one fight away from winning this game. Force the mistakes out of them.
Yeah, why not?
Pops BKB immediately goes for the disable onto Luna, down to half health. Can he get off the C10 and get the hits in? On the fight, another charge, he just can't get the hits in.
He's
A
healing.
little bit. Oh,
He's healing.
now he's healing back up, and Blacklist have to run. But Tim's, well, even if the heroes all get away, it's going to be the buildings that are going to be the problem here. Is, yeah, Tim's does get cut down,
got
but the bigger
Mega.
problem is Megas.
What the hell happened in this game? Abed comes back, he's like, guys,
Oh, we were winning.
we're still winning, right? I mean, they got to make something happen. You cannot let them get out of here for free.
Quick refresh to the BKB, but Ahmed stuck inside the Sprout.
He's
It's
ruined.
bad. Inside the Sprout, silence up as well. Yule Scepter to be able to help out Raven. He's not able to get this fast kill anymore, has to jump back. Heroes 3 dead on the side of Blacklist. It's Gabby and Raven now. No longer have to go for kills, have to be able to somehow hold their Ancient. Now it's just Raven against the world, and there's no way he has a chance. GG just like that. What a turn of fate. 10 minutes ago, this felt guaranteed for Blacklist.
Southeast Asian Dota, man. I mean, always unpredictable. There's no other way to say it. I think Gaimin are a little surprised they won that decisively off of how that game was going, because it felt like Blacklist were just incrementally making a stronger and stronger position in that game. Like, if they get an Aegis on the Spectre or something, they take one more fight, maybe they win that game, right? But a couple things just went wrong. Like, they did not respect the Luna Shard. They ended up with double melee core on top of Dyrachyo in that fight, which they... It's not like you last pick Lycan to a bad Lycan.
There have been teams that have done it.
I mean, could. It'll work out. It is
It's a
great
game-winning Lycan. I think, and that was a big advantage for Blacklist in game number 1, was the fact that they seemingly always had the vision advantage,
Right.
thanks to their multiple Invis heroes.
And I think if Blacklist don't start the fight, it's very
Big
awesome.
kill if they can get it. You said they need to be able to shut down some of these heroes.
All right.
Yeah, it's crazy how that Devour just single-handedly is going to win them the resource war. Take away the mana from Dyrachyo, give them unlimited mana for Tims to be thrown around. Gabby is going to be in some trouble, though. Decrepify once again going to be put to use here. Yeah, it does have a Devour, but that's going to pop out the little golems, and those do a lot of damage.
And it's working well as Alec is top of the board. Arcane rune for Quinn.
Quinn and Abed faking each other out, but Abed does manage to land the combo. The shield crash gives him a little bit of help, though, but the battery assault's going to be able to stop that Rolling Thunder. Couldn't get far enough away.
A lot of this early game.
Seems initially they want to put more pressure on mid, which is where Gaimin Gladiators are free to dominate this safe lane.
Again, Darachu just making great moves out of the safe lane the whole tournament.
Yeah, I think he's one of the carries to watch when it comes to using these. I think him and Mickey were probably the two carries that use the gates the most.
There's a reason it's them two, right? They're doing it to each other.
Carlo in some trouble. Good use of the ink swell.
Freeing up some space for himself. It results in his tower just going down without a fight. This is a tower I think Blacklist really wanted to take fights
Carlo,
around.
I'm not sure if you want to be in that.
Yeah, you're in the wrong neighborhood, son.
It is delayed long enough for Abed to be able to show up. But the problem is they're going to be running out of damage here. They have the X, yeah, to pull him back, but into what?
Just keeping out. Good luck, Tims, later.
So
Clean that
throw a
fight
little
up,
bit
Tims.
more damage around. He does manage to get the helmet dominant.
These are like healthy discussions. You just think about the game. Whenever you think about the game, you get back. So ESJ told me. You're gonna look for Quinn. They get another isolation. So the isolation kills is where this trio shot.
Yeah. Cogs keeping Ace back. Ace may not be able to get a return kill. Good use there of the bird to push him back in. The Hurricane bringing Carlo into striking distance for the Unstable Concoction. Doesn't get the damage because the Decrepify, but Tim's just chased away and heal Carlo.
You can Solar Crest these heroes in as well. Somebody's just dead. Like,
Yeah,
what is
Carlo just can't even get off a spell there.
Look at
Stilts
the
up
goal.
immediately, and everybody's running in. No, no, Raven TP'd into this one. This could get really bad if Gaimin Gladiators are able to run down all these heroes, but they're going to turn and fight onto the high ground here. The Enchanter's going to be in a bit of trouble, as he's going to be